for my second pick and a fourth overall of the week, number 7 Sunday six pack presented by FanDuel, I am going with the Seattle Seahawks plus 6.5 against the Los Angeles Chargers. And I like this one for a few reasons. First of all, I think Seattle on offense matches up well here, which, the Chargers are playing the 7th most man coverage. And Seattle, 10.7 yards per target against man coverage. That's second best in the league. The Chargers, they also aren't getting much pressure without Joey Bosa. I know they, got some timely blitzes and on Russell Wilson, but I think that was more of a symptom of the Broncos. They just figured out the Broncos offense, which is not hard to do. But Geno Smith, when he gets a clean pocket, his passer rating is 115. And even when he gets pressured, it's still 89. So he has been good across the board. Really hasn't mattered whether you blitz him or not. 106 rating when not blitzed, 113 when blitzed. And then you look at these receivers can kind of hang with this Chargers offense. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, obviously, but you also got Kenneth Walker, and he's playing really well. And I think he gives them another weapon, and it introduces some volatility to this, which is what you want as a dog, because Kenneth Walker is just breaking tackles left and right. Like some of the tackles he was breaking last week, I have no idea how he got out of them. He just kept going. And this Charger team, the Broncos, this is this is kind of a symptom of how bad their offense is right now, that they couldn't run the ball against the Chargers, but this Chargers run defense is not very good. It's still 22nd in DVOA. So I think the Seahawks are going to have multiple ways to attack here, and I think they could score some points. You're also getting the Chargers, obviously, on short rest. They don't really have much of a home field advantage to begin with out there in LA. And, looking at this Charger team, yes, they're going to get back Keenan Allen, maybe, probably, but on defense, I still think there's going to be a lot of issues. J.C. Jackson got benched last week, but now he's going to be back in the lineup, and I don't think that's a good thing, going against Lockett and Metcalf, because Jackson's obviously hurt. Like he's either hurt or he's just not good in this new scheme outside of New England. I don't know what it is, but I just think,
or it's just that Belichick gets defensive backs to overperform.
Yeah, because Jones is playing real well. I think he's the number 1 graded corner as a rookie, which is crazy. But yeah, I'm just trying to catch the Chargers here, coming off the short rest with a team that's going to put up some points here. And Chargers, they really haven't been dominant. We all love their roster heading into the season. We're like, this is one of the best rosters in the league. I know that they've lost a lot of guys a lot of high-end guys to injury that, many of them are either still out or at less than 100%. But this Charger team, they only have one win by more than 5 points. And that was a 34-24 win against the Houston Texans, where the Texans were right in that game at 27-24. And then, the Chargers needed a late Austin Eckler touchdown with just over 2 minutes to go to pull away and get the double-digit win. So I don't see this Charger team blowing the Seahawks out, and I think the Seahawks are a live dog here. I think they could score some points in this matchup, especially with the Chargers on short rest.
Yeah, I'd be a little worried about the Seahawks defense, especially keep an eye on Lindsley and Pipkins is limited too. Their offensive line is just a mess. And then if Keenan Allen can go full, he's just really important as just like a possession receiver. Takes the heat off Mike Williams, and the Seahawks defense is really bad. But I'd never mind taking points against the Chargers. I said on Twitter, every time I watch a Chargers game, I'm convinced we live in a simulation, because every Chargers game is the same. Like it'll be a 4-point game late, and someone on the ball, and there's just never any margin. These games are all the same. So, I don't mind taking the points here, especially with short week and there's almost no home field, as you said.
And the Seahawks defense, it was bad. Like, don't get me wrong, but I've been watching them pretty close these last few weeks. They are starting to improve. Woolen, obviously, at cornerback, is playing really well. I mean, he's going to be a problem if he's not already. And then they're starting to make some schematic changes as well. Like they're playing less base defense. They're taking Barton out some, and getting a little more athletic on at the coverage spots, and just I've seen some things I like, because this defense was a couple weeks ago, this defense was dead, like bottom 3 in the league in DVOA, and now it's up to 22nd. And watching the defense, I see some of that improvement. So I just need them not to be a bottom 3 defense, which I don't think they are anymore. I think they're making modest improvements. So hopefully that that keeps up.
By the way, like the first couple years of this podcast, I used to yell that J.C. Jackson was a fraud and not good, and then I had a completely 180 and then rate him really highly because his results just were insane. But whenever I watched him like early on, I was like, he's getting so lucky, and Belichick obviously did something with him, and then in that scheme where it just worked. Because I always thought he was like kind of like a Diggs early on. And he would get like picks and he was aggressive, but I was like, man, this guy has holes in his game. But he was all his results, you couldn't argue with him. And I was like, all right, this guy's an elite corner. He leaves New England and he gets benched. This happens a lot with these New England defensive backs once they leave town.